previous video, we talked about hair texture. Hair texture that we have in the industry. I told you that we have four major types of hair texture, and they are straight, wavy, coily, and kinky. These four major types of hair texture have a subcategory, and this subcategory starts from A to C, like I stated in my previous video. That is, straight is like under type 1, wavy is under type 2, kinky kinky is under type 4, and coily is under type 3. And the subcategory of this A to E is like straight as type 1 is type 1A, type 1B, and type 1C. Wavy as type 2 is type 2A, type 2B, and type 2C. Coily as type 3 is type 3A, type 3B, and type 3C. Kinky as type 4 is type 4A, type 4B, and type 4C. You might be wondering, how am I able to know that there are four major types of hair texture we have in the industry? Yes, there are four major types of hair that we have in the industry, and this was adapted, or this was simplified by a man named Andre Walker, a long-term hairstylist for Oprah Winfrey. And in biology, there is nothing like category, there's nothing like labels of this hair. They are just vague. So for people to understand these particular types of hair, for people to be able to know how to classify their hair in the hair industry, in the 1990s, Andre Walker came up with this simplified version of hair categories and hair texture so that you can be able to know where your hair falls. And so far, it has been adapted by hair stylists, hair brands, and hair care brands. The reason why people adapted to this was actually because people could find their own texture in these categories. People were not able to get or understand their hair texture before this time. So when Andre came up with this idea or came up with these categories, people were able to adapt to it quickly because that was like the only simplified way to actually put it. And the reason is this: in biology does not label hairs according to types and according to categories. They label their hairs on how it grows. So I wrote here in my research that the shape of the hair follicle determines the pattern of the hair. That is, round follicle is straight hair, oval follicle is wavy or coily, flat or curved follicle is coily or kinky. And it's not just determined like that, it's also determined by how tight the pattern is. So in biology, it looks like the amount of bend the hair gives to determine if the hair is coily or straight or kinky. So here I wrote little bend is straight, some bend is wavy and coily, tight bend is coily. That's like coily meaning by kinky, because there's a difference between coily and coily. That's CURL and COIL. You understand that? So biology sees hair texture as a spectrum, not fixed category. This is why two people will have a different type of coily and it might not actually look the same. Do you understand that? You see this person that will have this particular type of coils, you see another person having a particular type of coils, but the pattern might not actually look the same way. That is why I think it was kind of a reason why they could not be able to find a simplified version of it. And then that was how Andre Walker came in with his own simplified version, and people could actually like agree with him so quickly because they had no other choice to find the other way to simplify their hair. And actually, I don't know if that is all the hair texture that we have in the world, because the world is so big, and genetic influence can also influence a certain movement of hair or a certain way a hair can grow. But this is like type, a four major type, because history and scientists can come up with different types, different textures. They tell you that a particular texture is moving this way, and so these four types is just a major in terms of regions and things like that. Then if there's another type of hair texture outside this, then it might actually go under coily or coils or straight or wavy and all of those things. That is just it. So this is also why you can see a factory or a supplier when they want to get like a raw hair or a two person's hair now, and they say that okay, this straight and this straight might actually be the same, but the density of the strands here might not be the same as the density of the strands here in this particular one. So they label the hair differently. So after this video, I'll also be uploading another video talking about density and strands and cuticles of hair, because those also can also help them to classify hairs in different ways. You can also see that. That's why you see two straight hair, the density is different. The cuticles of this particular country's own might not be as thick as the cuticle of this particular country. So mixing it together might not really, and there are some regions that have that. There are also other regions that have lighter density. You understand? That is where you also see baby thin hairs. That is where you also see the thicker strands, the coarse version, the thin version, and all of those things. So in our next video, we're talking about different density, that you can also understand this particular hair and also know how to classify your raw hairs and know how to educate your clients when you want to teach them or when they want to purchase a raw hair from you, because all these things can actually be a problem or a reason why two vendors might be trying to clash their head together without knowing that, okay, that these factories source hair from different regions, different countries around the world.